Welcome to Season 3, Episode 15 of the Raider Power Podcast. I'm Evan, and with me today is Chris and Ryan. And today we got a very special guest, Luke Adams, former Texas Tech basketball player and son of new head coach Mark Adams. Luke, how you doing today, man?
Doing great. Thank you guys for having me on. So happy to be here.
Well, we're really glad to have you on. Don't want to leave you guys out. Chris, Ryan, how are y'all doing?
We're good. We're good, man.
Yeah, couldn't be better. What
At least
complain about?
At least you asked this time. Last week when we had Ethan on, he didn't even ask.
You know, when you have people on that you want to talk to more than you, it just kind of comes naturally. But Luke, thank you very much for doing this with us today, man. We're thrilled that your dad is taking the reins of the basketball program, and kind of just wanted to get your perspective on things. So to start off, why don't you tell us a little bit about where you're from, where you grew up, where you went to school, all that good stuff.
Let's see. I grew up pretty much in Lubbock, Texas. A lot of people ask me that. I went to Trinity Christian High School from like first grade all the way to junior year in high school. Todd Duncan, Ethan Duncan, who's going to play at Texas Tech. He was actually my high school coach. He's at Lubbock Christian now. And then I went to Big Spring High School. That was a lot different than being a private school.
Yeah.
The whole time, but there wasn't any stalls like in the bathroom. My first break, I was just like, what is going on? So it was a good experience for me. But my dad was at Howard College, junior college, and the year I moved to Big Spring, they won the national championship. I actually transferred in at Christmas. They had Jay Crowder and a bunch of really, really good players. But I think 8 guys won Division I on that team. But it was I got to practice with them. I was on the scout team, so I could never really make a mistake. And so it was good. It was a good experience for me. But they had a lot of college coaches coming in. So I was always just trying to get my recruitment a little bit better. They had a lot of coaches coming in to watch, the kids play. So, and then I ended up staying again my senior year in Big Spring. And it's kind of funny. I had 3 head coaches in high school, and I also had 3 head coaches in college. So I'm not the problem. I'm the solution. So it was good reasons. The other guys left in high school, they got better jobs. So it was a good thing. But is really from a coaching standpoint is a great experience from just learning different styles to do it. You learn what you don't like, you learn what you do like. And so I think that's a invaluable experience as a young head coach. You can just learn a lot of ways to do it. So
yeah, tell us a little bit about that now, Luke. You played at Texas Tech, and I want to talk about that in a minute, but you're the head coach at a junior college in New Mexico, correct?
Yes.
Where is that?
It's in Hobbs, New Mexico. I tell recruits it's about an hour and 15 minutes, but that's if you only go about 90 the whole way. But it's really about hour 30 minutes. And usually when a kid flies in, we hope they take a nap. And then the time don't change. They realize they think it's like 30 minutes, trip because you gain an hour. So they're like, hey, we're already here. See, I told you it wasn't very bad. We're like, right, it's like, feel rested? Very good. And so it's been, that's we got a really good spot, very, very good location, best conference in the country when it comes to junior college. We've had 2 NBA players since like 2014. So it's been a lot of really good players in our conference and league. So our league sells itself. But recently we had a $30 million renovation to our
wow.
So new locker rooms. I mean, it was nicer than when I was at Texas Tech. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's probably nicer. It's the nicest in the country. I don't think anyone's even close. But very fortunate, very blessed to come into this job when things were happening at the right time. So we got a great president, athletic director. They love athletics. So I'm in a really, really good spot. So it's a lot of fun.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool to see you, following in your dad's footsteps. You got a heck of a role model to follow. But before we talk about the coaching aspect and your dad, talk to us a little bit about your playing career at Tech. What years were you there? And I don't know, anything you can share there.
So I was there from 2011, 11 to 15, I believe. Yeah. And so 4 years. I originally played for Billy Gillespie. He was known for playing, walk-ons. They offered me a preferred walk-on spot. I averaged this in the state of Texas. I did lead the state of Texas in scoring in like 3A. So
wow.
I was trying to help my recruitment. Had a couple low major offers, which is a great thing now from a JUCO standpoint. Me recruiting kids, like I know the feeling of being under recruited and just maybe not getting the right exposure. And so I ended up going to, Gillespie promised me a fair shot, and I owe it to him because he really was a man of his word. I didn't play the first 7, I could be wrong, maybe 6 or 7 games I did not play. And, but, I just had to mentally keep getting myself ready. I don't think there's anything tougher in sports coming off the bench and being ready. Like, I think that's kids just get so discouraged and but it's all about when your opportunity comes, do you perform? Are you ready? And a lot of kids mentally on the bench just don't understand that.
Yeah.
So I had to mentally prepare myself for every game as if I was the best player, even though I wasn't even close. But I had to act like I was going to be the difference in us winning the game.
Mhm.
And we didn't have a great year. But I did start, I think, like 6 or 7 games as a walk-on freshman in the Big 12. I didn't play against the SWAC teams. I played like in the Big 12, so it was tough. But we had a really young team, like 7 or 8 freshmen. We're the youngest team in the country, and I think I had the record for. Now you're thinking it's not a scoring or basketball record, but like I think I played with the most teams than anyone in like a 4-year span. So
Wow.
it was. I'm not 100% accurate on that, but it was a. That was a good, just interesting to see kids coming in and out, why kids leave, why they don't. I got to meet a lot of different people relationship wise. So after my freshman year, Chris Walker was this interim head coach.
Yep.
He told me I was going to be Wes Welker, like be like him. And I'm like, wait a minute, like this should have probably occurred to me. He's football, basketball. That's not a good example, but
Get a lot of concussions.
That was far from the truth. Oh man, but I learned a lot from Chris Walker. He's at Villanova. He was with a lot of good programs. He did it completely different. He did it his own way. And then from there, Tubby Smith came in. He put me on full scholarship. My dad ended up getting hired on staff as a director of basketball operations. And it was really interesting to see just kind of the different players he kind of recruited, guys that really wanted to be professional basketball players. Whereas my freshman, sophomore year is more of guys that were trying to have a good time on a visit. And big difference. You get different type of players. And so even nowadays as a coach, I try to sell that. Like, if you want to have fun, go to Florida, to be honest with you, or more stuff to do on a weekend. So I think at the end of the day, it comes down to just, I just learned a lot through my coaching period. I was the host on a visit for Chris Boucher, who was at New Mexico Junior College, is on the Raptors now.
Yeah.
He's like our prize, player that played here. I was his host on his visit. He had a great time, but we didn't get him. Oregon, I think, paid him or something. I don't know. I say that because I didn't get him. I'm a little sore loser, but it was a really good experience. I knew I wanted to coach. I knew I wasn't going to play in the NBA. I knew the better chance I had, the higher level I played at, the more opportunities and more people I'd meet. So it's kind of why I didn't go to a low Division I and probably have a better career. I just wanted to, really get on a staff, honestly, like the one they have now at Texas Tech. I mean, they got like 25 people on the staff.
Yeah.
It's unreal. And it's great from a young coach because your network and your coaching tree just grows tremendously. So it's, so after that, so what was the first question anyways?
Evan?
Man, we just kind of want to know your story a little bit. So rolling after playing, you didn't immediately go to New Mexico. You were with South Plains Junior College for a little bit, right? Was that your first coaching gig after playing basketball?
So actually when I finished playing, I went to South Plains and volunteered. I did it for 2 years. I lived at my parents' house. It wasn't as nice as this house that I'm in right now. I promise you that. But I did it to help my grandfather too. He had Alzheimer's at the time. So I'd go to Brownfield, Levelland, kind of back to Lubbock, Texas on a triangle. I did it multiple times. I loved it. I wanted to go to a good program with a well-respected coach like Coach Steve Green. He's a Hall of Famer, won 3 national championships. He's a really good offensive coach. And then they have really good players. It's easy to recruit there. I just felt like that would be a good spot for me to network and just get my foot in the door. And that was a great opportunity for me. I was there for 2 years. Then I went to Seward County in Kansas. and with Jason Sauter was the head coach there. He also used to work for my dad. And that was great because different conference, Kansas junior college is completely different. I don't want to say anything negative about Kansas junior college, but it's just not the same, from a financial standpoint of full scholarships, getting to keep all your financial aid, all those little things. And so I learned to really appreciate what I had. I mean, I drove a van to scrimmages and even some games. So I think we got lost on the first scrimmage. My head coach was on the phone for an hour, just driving in the wrong direction. I'm just like, where are we going? And I looked up and, hey coach, you're going the wrong way, like 45 minutes. So like, it's already like 1 a.m, so, but it was a lot of great experiences. I wouldn't trade my experiences for anything. It makes me appreciate what I have. And I think, so from there, I'm at New Mexico Junior College this is my 3rd year. We did not have a season this year. Due to our governor's very strict health restrictions, even though 20 miles down the road in Seminole, Texas, they're playing football games and basketball games. It was just, so it was a kind of a frustrating experience, but we ended up letting all of our kids transfer to other junior colleges across the country. We had like 7 or 8 of them that went to other schools, and 7 of them played in the national tournament for 5 different teams. So we had a really, really good team. So now we're trying to rebuild and do it again this year. And hopefully we should be able to play, I think. So, I mean, I know we will, but nothing's guaranteed, I guess.
Absolutely. So Luke, when did you decide that, my playing career is, not trying to go to the NBA, but to become a coach? When did you decide, hey, I want to get into coaching versus playing?
Honestly, it's probably in the 7th grade when my dad,
Really?
went to the NBA, and he said, "Luke, son, it ain't gonna happen." I'm like, "Ooh."
Even
like
after
that.
senior year, when you led
like,
the team and led the state in scoring, you still didn't think you were gonna make the NBA?
Oh, so, well, I was working out at 7 a.m. I was doing a lot. I thought I was, compared to everyone else. There was one kid in the gym at that time. And Evan probably knows this, but, I'd go up there early at 7 and I got a lot better, but I asked my dad the question, I want to play in the NBA or high major. And I had to rephrase the question and add high major in there so it didn't seem as insane. But he just said, you better be the best passer in the country, best shooter, best dribbler, best defender, toughest guy in the country. Like, I'm like, okay. All right. So I go up in my room. I'm feeling sorry for myself. I'm crying, bro. I think I know I was. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I was. And I was upset. It seemed like my whole life had been shattered. And it wasn't, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me because it was the truth, number one. But 2, it gave me an option to make a decision and choice on what I wanted. And at that moment, I made a decision that if I was to hit a growth spurt by some magical miracle in my senior, junior year, or whatever happens, then I wouldn't have any regret. And I made a plan on the 7th, 8th grade on like how to master passing, shooting, and dribbling. And I'm not a great athlete. I've never touched the rim, like I'm quick, but I can't jump. You know what I mean? So I really had to be smart, study film, but I just changed what I wanted. And I made every choice and decision was based on what I wanted. So when you ask me when I wanted to be a coach, I kind of knew it, but when my dad actually became the head coach at Howard, he got out for a couple of years and got into coaching again. That's when I fell in love with basketball. He never really forced me to do it. I actually played ice hockey and a bunch of stuff like, in
Big Spring?
In Lubbock.
Oh, and when the Cotton Kings? Yeah.
I mean, I was actually decent. I mean, I don't know if anyone else would say otherwise, but I mean, I had like 6 goals a game, but competition is terrible.
Yeah.
We played a team in Dallas and just got murdered. Like I had like 4 goals, but we got beat like 12-4. And I'm like, man, okay, I thought I was good, but I wasn't. And, for the hockey thing, but I just fell in love with basketball. That's one of the things I really appreciate my dad did was he never forced me to play. I mean, I might've played in like Upward or church league, but it allowed me to fall in love with the game. And I think a lot of kids nowadays are forced to kind of play. Their parents are giving them lessons. Like I was just shooting by myself. Like my dad would rebound for me all the time. But, at the 7th grade is when things changed for me as a player. But from a coaching standpoint, I just was going to my dad's games and I just loved it. I knew that's what I wanted to do. I could see myself up along the sidelines and coaching and just seeing all the kids' lives he impacted as well. Kids that all sorts of different backgrounds, one father, with one mom, single parent, single family households, and just him setting the example. He was a father figure to him, and he helped him. He still helps him to this day. And it just, all the relationships that I've been able to create through it, you can't really put a price tag on it, even though it's probably not a great profession to be in. The money's never good until you can reach a certain point. But I didn't do it for the money in the first place. I mean, I'm living at home, I volunteered, and I think the guys that do it that way really have the right intent, like the right intentions and just the right heart. And I'm just trying to make guys the best basketball players they can be, and trying to get guys that really want to be coached and really want to play at a high level, and then also get their degree. And it's guys, yeah, that's good kids, trying to get the right character guys in our program. So those are fun to coach. So that's kind of how that's kind of why I want to do it. Sorry, it's a long answer. So
that was a great answer.
Great answer. Absolutely.
So Luke, let's talk about your dad. I think that I speak for Ryan and Chris and anyone I know that is a supporter of Texas Tech, that we were all pretty devastated when Chris Beard left for the University of Texas, and a lot of uncertainty moving forward. Who's going to be the guy? But it's funny to look back in our group text and we're saying, please, dear God, make Mark Adams the guy. You had a lot of people rooting for your dad to take the reins. And I think obviously well-deserved. He's proven that he can win at pretty much at every level. It's no secret that he was an integral part of Chris Beard's success at Texas Tech. So maybe just tell me what it means to you that your dad gets this opportunity, what it means to you and your family, and what kind of guy is Texas Tech getting?
That's a great question. Some people go their whole life wanting a chance and an opportunity. Some don't get it, some do. Coaching's a little bit of luck as well. I mean, there's no secret to it. Just getting to the right coach that's going to win, having the opportunity to move up. My dad is not a self-promoter. He's not tweeting. He's not just like doing all this. He doesn't care about any of that. All he cares about is winning. That's it. I've learned so much just from watching him on the side, but you're getting a guy that he did the same thing in junior college, where people might go to the game or might not, but he's watching film. He has to watch the game right after the game. So he watches the entire game film, he'll leave, like we would leave Howard College at 2 a.m. It's just me and him. I usually end up falling asleep on the couch right next to him in the film session. And like, he's obsessed. He's gonna win. He has a chip on his shoulder as well. When he was at Pan American, he didn't have the right one. It wasn't a great situation. Lowest budget in the country, $1,000, which is a joke.
Wow.
To recruit. Like, terrible situation. The worst job in the country. They had some success. He learned a lot as well. He even changed a lot as a coach. One of my good coaching friends is John Copeland. He used to be the head coach at Lubbock Christian. And he even said that your dad changed a lot when he was coaching a hockey team. We owned the hockey team. He was just watching other people practice, and, he just changed a lot of his, just offensively, defensively, knowing who he is. And just, you always have those moments where you discover yourself. And he's always been one heck of a basketball coach. There's no one better I've seen than motivating guys and getting them to be a team. And, it's really fun to watch because there is an art to it. It's not just X's and O's. It's not just a great speech before a game. It's like, and I'll use a story, but KJ, Allen, he comes, it's like their second day of practice. and they're huddled up, and like my dad had a pastor pray before practice, and he says, "Hey coach, I want to say something." And my dad's kind of like, "Okay," kind of a little like, "What's going on here?" But he said, "Coach, I just want y'all to know this already feels like a real family." And he's like, I've been here 2 days. This feels like a family. And but that's what a team is. It's really just getting a group of guys to play for one another and to be tough and have a certain identity about them. And so when you ask what my dad's going to be, he is a fighter that's a coach. He is born that way. Like, he's not backing down from anybody, but he understands it's not about him. It's about his guys understanding and how getting them to play on a consistent basis, getting themselves mentally ready, understanding there's a war tomorrow, and you got to get yourself right now and start thinking about it. And it's just a mentality to it. Beard was great at it. He's a great coach. Nothing against anything. That whole situation obviously was my dad wouldn't be in this situation if it wasn't for him. And so everything happens for a reason. My dad was just really fortunate. He was hungry for a chance. And he's the guy I'm at my parents' house. My mom's barely sees him, and he comes in at 11 o'clock at night talking to his assistant that he's just left the office until 1 in the patio over here smoking a cigar or something. So he's a relentless. So you have a guy that's always going to do everything he can for the program. And, but they're always trying to find ways to improve. They've been watching, he's probably had 12 Zoom meetings with different offensive guys across the country, trying to figure out how they want to play offensively, trying to just get different ideas. He doesn't have all the answers, and he knows that, and he's okay with that, but he's going to find them. That's just the type of guy he is.
You got me ready to run through a brick wall. I don't know about you fellas.
Don't run through the screen, Evan. Just don't do it.
We always talk about, whenever we're watching the game, how we always think it's so important to get that kind of the team together, like you were saying, like the family aspect, motivating each other to play for each other. So that I can't tell you how excited I am for the year after just hearing that. Like Evan said, oh my, that was inspiring.
What was the last thing you said? I'm sorry.
I said that was inspiring right there. I'm ready to play for him.
It's the truth. I'll be honest. It's not a sales pitch or recruiting pitch. I mean, at the end of the day, any job is as good as one is your administration, your athletic director, and your president, and the people supporting it. You really can really reach the potential that they allow you to have. And he has that at Tech with Kirby Hocutt and, everyone around him. They want to win. And so he's never been in this situation. Every job he's had wasn't the best job he was at. So even Little Rock wasn't the best one. Howard College was not even the top 7. And in that conference, and then or probably, I'm not going to say that, but it's not at the top 5 or half of the league. And Wayland Baptist was growing at that time. West Texas A&M is a powerhouse now, but they weren't at that time. And so it's, you always have to just make the most of what you have, at the end of the day. So I think, and they will. I think the rules have changed in a way that really benefit the high majors and the Texas Techs. There's not a better time to be a high major coach right now. There's not one. I mean, every mid-major is going to be trying to go to the next level. Your best players are getting poached by other teams. The NLI thing where you can actually make money and profit off your own name, image, and likeness. It's a business, and it's legal. Everything it's not a better time to be a head coach, and especially at a program like Texas Tech. And my dad and them are just ready to get it started. They got a couple scholarships to fill, but I mean, they're looking at everyone. They literally turn over every single stone on a kid. They look at the details. They find out everything about them. So it's a lot that goes into it. It's really like being a Fortune 500 CEO. I mean, you have a huge staff, but it's a business, and you got to run it like one.
That's great, man. I mean, I've known you for a long time, Luke. Know your sister. My mom's good friends with your mom, and so I've known the kind of guy that your dad is. But we know he's going to be a heck of a coach. But he's also going to be, cultivate these men to succeed in life, which is exciting as well. We interviewed Ethan Duncan last week or the week before, and it was cool to hear him talk about how he was really kind of between Tech and Texas at the end. And nothing against Chris Beard whatsoever, but he was like, look, Chris Beard's one of the hottest coaches in the nation right now. And he was like, what it came down to, the biggest aspect was that, I aligned with Mark Adams' values, and I aligned with what he was trying to do and where he was trying to take his team. And so to hear that straight from the horse's mouth was pretty cool. And I'm fired up for this season for sure.
Me too. You got season tickets? Where do you sit, Evan? I'm going to make sure you're at every game.
I got to travel a little bit back from Denver, but I'll be at most if I can. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to go to every game. If I have a game, I obviously can be there, but it's kind of funny. I mean, one time, like my dad watches all my games as well. It's funny because I remember we were playing at halftime versus Midland. It's a big game, like for us to go to the regional tournament. My dad calls me. My phone's, well, first off, I give my phone to my assistant, and he's just like, it's buzzing. He's like, hey, Luke, is your dad? And I'm at halftime. I'm like walking in the hallways. I'm upset. Like we went like 1 for 10 from three. Oh, actually, they shot 70% from the free throw line. I mean, from the 3-point line.
Wow.
They're like 7 for 10. And I'm like, and they can't shoot. Like they're supposed to be like 20%. Like, and I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, so I answer the call. I'm like, hello. I'm walking back around. He's just like, hey, I couldn't really see the live stream. And it was a terrible live stream. I'm talking like, you can see the entire court, like in the camera. Like you can't even tell. Can't tell if it goes in the basket. And he's like, I can't really tell, but they look like they're shooting well. I'm like, yeah, they are. He goes, what are they shooting? I'm like, 7 for 10, 70% from three. And he's just like, okay, well, it'll be all right. Well, pressure him, make him dribble it. I'm like, okay. And he goes, they won't keep shooting like that. And I'm like, well, I hope not. I hope not. And he's just like, all right, go talk to your team. But he's so like, that never happens. That was once, but it's just funny how he couldn't see the game and he was wondering how it's going. But we have a great relationship. But we're obsessed, even in high school, I would talk to my dad probably 6 or 7 times. Well, probably like 4 times a day. So like I would go in the bathroom. First off, I went to the bathroom in every single class at the same time. Like I had a routine. So they thought that's when my body wanted to go to the restroom. So I went to every single restroom, every single bathroom in every class. And I'd always call him. Someone would walk in, I'd like hang up and call him back, but I'll be asking about his recruits or just, I'm addicted to it. This is what we love. We've been doing it for a while. So I'm just happy he gets the opportunity to be at a place where they can really win a national championship. There's only a couple places that can do that.
That's awesome.
So would you like to work with your dad in the future?
Would I like to?
Yes. He
said I wasn't good enough.
Oh God.
he honestly, I would love to at some point. I just don't know. It's rare to have a situation like if my job was to come open in New Mexico, like there would be mid-major assistant coaches. And I mean, a lot of people, it's so hard to get a head coaching job. It's so difficult. I'm very fortunate with my president. He used to be at South Plains, Kelvin Sharp, Dr. Sharp, and he's actually related to Marshall Sharp. And so like, he's a huge supporter of athletics. In my opinion, he's probably the best president in our league, if not the country. I mean, we fund it well. I'm not 100% sure what my budget is. I mean, that's rare in junior college. Like you don't that's the easiest way to get fired is just going over your budget. And so with us, we just have a great, athletic director, Darren Clark. So I have a great situation and it's tough to get jobs. And with us not having a season, like I also want to win a national championship. And I think, if I ever do make the jump Division I, it always makes it difficult to come back because the pay is not as good. And, I'm single, I don't have a fan, those things come into factor later. And right now I have a chance to continue to grow as a coach and learn. I've learned so much in 2 years as a head coach. So I really don't know. Am I on my 4th year or 3rd year? Because technically I didn't have a season this year. Does that count, Evan? What do you think?
I think it counts. I think it counts if you want it to count.
Good question though. So, I think for us, it's
3.5.
We just have with our renovation, it's just a good spot. And I just want to do something that no one's done in my school before I leave. So I don't think I'm done yet. but he did say I wasn't good enough. So maybe that's just what I just said was an excuse. I guess. I don't know.
Luke, what do you think about some of the? I mean, no secret, a lot of turnover. People are calling this a rebuilding year. I mean, yeah, because of the turnover, but we have a plethora of talent coming in. I mean, I think we got some studs coming into the program. What are your thoughts on some of the guys coming in?
You know, Evan, I watched them work out once. They're very athletic. I mean, one of them has a 44-inch vertical, which is like insane. You know, their bodies, all of those will improve as well because most of them have been doing weights since their last school or when they were last on campus. So they're talented. I love their length and their athleticism. High character kids, tough kids. They all want to be professionals. And I think they're just very talented. I think some of them are going to get a lot better just through player development and the routine and just trying to, you know, they have a plan for each kid individually. And so I do think, I think they're going to be really good. They have 3 scholarships open, 3 or 4, one of 3, I think for sure. So, you know, with Bryson Williams is a big one. They've been on him hard. My dad's done a great job recruiting him. It's been a process and you got to be patient, but you know, he visited and had a great visit. So I think that is he's a huge piece. If TJ Shannon comes back, that's a huge piece. I mean, like, you know, it changes the entire team. You know, I think for right now as a coach, you want guys you can coach and be talented enough to win. I think they're talented enough to win games. They're 2 pieces away from really being a contender for this league. But I think they got a good chance on some of the guys that they're on. And I think I think that's the key, is just trying to really get some good guys for these next 3 spots.
Now, Luke, I promised myself I wasn't going to ask for inside info, and I'm not. But the fact that you said that TJ might come back gives me a little hope that we may see Mr. Shannon in the red and black again next year.
And he's going through the process, which is good. You can I could be wrong. I need to know the NCAA rules and all that stuff because I'm in JUCO, I'm in my world, but I'm pretty sure you can go through the process and you can only do it like a number of times, like I think it's 1 time, maybe 2, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You should be able to do it every time. Why wouldn't you? But it's the best thing for the kid. And he's going through the process, trying to get feedback. He's working out every day. So those things are, I don't know how it really works from like just the workouts, and it's all a little confusing. It's all new to me, really, to be honest. I mean, a couple of my teammates did it, but you know, TJ has a legit chance in being a late first round, early second. And I don't really have any insider info. I just know like there's a chance he could come back and they're holding one for him if he does. But my dad wants TJ to do whatever is best for him. And they get real value, real feedback. And so it's great for my kid because you get to know what you can work on, how you can improve, and try to not just get lost along the way in the league. And so college is a great development for those guys, the stage they had, the being on TV, the competition they're playing against. And TJ maximized, he did a really good job when he was here. I think the sky's the limit for him if he decides to come back.
Yeah, totally.
I'd like for him to come back selfishly too, but I want TJ to do whatever is best for him. So we'll see. Hopefully we get some good news soon.
Well, Chris, Ryan, you guys got anything else?
Ryan, you got anything?
I got nothing else. This has been awesome so far.
See, here's the problem. I could do this for another hour, but I want to be respectful of your time, Luke. So,
you know, I'm actually in my parents' kitchen, and my mom, I told her no, you can't cook while I'm doing a Zoom.
Depends on what she's making, though, right?
What are we doing here? The sacrifices, you know, like you gotta make it. I'm trying to help, you know. And she's like, okay. She turned I'm in the kitchen. She hasn't walked in here with the dog. I think the dog's locked up in her room. So, you know, but I can do this. She can wait. I promise. You know, he's at Chick-fil-A, so I'm good. So.
Oh man.
So we saw your dad fight the incarnate word bear at halftime that one game. Is Mark a good boxer?
He is.
there's got to be a story there,
He
right?
would whoop my ass. Use my language of French on that, but he's a fighter. I mean, I can be a little feisty, at times, like when he was rebounding for me, like he maybe said some of my elbows out or something on my shot, and I'm like, whatever. Like I might smart off. We could be in like a public gym, like with 6 courts in it, like a family over there, AAU team over here working out. Yeah, they just come up and be like, "You speak to me like that again, I'll embarrass you in front of everyone." I'm like, good. So I have stories. He just, like I kind of say earlier, they like Lillard for the Portland Trail Blazers. He's a fighter that plays basketball. I mean, that's really, my dad's he's the exact same. I mean, he state champions, I think he's in the semis, but they thought, I mean, I've heard so many stories from his friends and just stuff that, yeah, he's a fighter for sure. I mean, if someone gives him a bad look on the highway, he's pulling him over. I've been the guy that had to pull him over. Like, no, I'm not pulling him over. He's like, follow him. Oh, follow him. Yes, sir. I'm coming up. There'll be 3 guys. He doesn't care. Usually they're like, get back in the car and they leave and they apologize. But I'm like, you feel better? You feel better? What if he had a gun? You can't do that nowadays. So he knows that, especially with videos and phones. So he's calmed down a lot in that area. But
yeah, we don't want to see an ESPN article. Texas Tech head coach.
Trust me, he knows now. It actually helped when they started, really winning. People, oh, my bad, sorry. But he's a competitor at nature. He's one of the most competitive. He can beat me in anything, ping pong, the foosball, he wants to win. So I've never seen anyone like him on that area. So golf, he's not very good at golfer. Either am I, though. I don't play him. I don't play anything I'm going to lose in. So I just stick to basketball, shooting, maybe horse. I'm still undefeated since college. So it's a good record to have. Actually, I did lose 1 game, but it was a fluke. The kid tried to shoot all left-handed. Well, I cheated and shot right-handed at the very end, and I won, but I cheated. I'll admit it on the air. I mean, he shot like this, and then he moved his hand and shot this way. I was just like, and I shoot with my right hand, but hold my left hand up there like I didn't lose, but I did cheat. That was the first time I really cheated. So on the horse. But he's very competitive, so I know that's the best thing about my dad. They're gonna, and I will say this: coaching, it's more about, everyone has some really good talent early in the year, and your job at that point is try to get the best team and talent and pieces that fit. But as a coach, when you have that final roster and you're trying to get them better, the best coaches teams improve the most at the end of the year. So some teams might kind of peak out. What my dad is the best at is their team they're playing their best basketball at the end of the year. And there's an art to it. It's, as a coach, as far as how you coach them, getting them it's more us, at the end of the year. It's, at the beginning of the year, it might be more you're being selfish or you're not doing this but towards the end of the year, it's all about all of them together. It's not just the coach versus the players. It's all of them towards the end of the year. And I think he's the best I've seen at that. And I've had a lot of coaches, so my opinion is worth something.
Well, man, I can't thank you enough for doing this again. We know your dad's going to be a heck of a coach, but also goes without saying that it feels good to have someone in charge who is Mr. Texas Tech and wants to be there. And that's all I'll say. In light of recent events, it's good to have someone that wants to be there, and he's behind our program 100%, and we're behind him 100%. So,
and I do think that was the craziest, most humbling experience in the very beginning when Beard just left, and just seeing the overwhelming support from the fans, Twitter, I mean, you can name any platform, it was on there. I don't know about TikTok. I just eventually I will never go to sleep unless, if I hate TikTok, because I'm just watching videos the whole way through, but I still don't get on it. But, with the amount of support was unbelievable. I think that meant so much to my dad, at that time, because there was a risk. He told Beard he's going to stay and interview. Beard was trying to get him to go to Texas immediately, like get on the plane and get out, and he didn't, which meant there was probably going to be a pay reduction, or, I mean, Beard would have still taken him back. I know that, but it would have probably dented the relationship a little bit. He would probably, so it just, my dad bet on himself and bet on the fans, but he got to see the fans see and care that they wanted him. And that was tremendous. That meant so much to him for as much as he's done, being at Texas Tech. And coaching's a crazy business. You wear a logo on your shirt and you give your life and soul for the team, and then you move on to another one. And then you might see some guy walking on with the school you were just at with the logo, and he has no clue that you did so much for that. And it's just a crazy business. It's kind of weird to think about it, but I know he's been a Red Raider for life for a long time, and this is where he wants to be. This is home for him, and that's not a cliche. It's not a catchphrase or business slogan. I mean, his family is literally in Brownfield, 30 minutes away, and so I went here. My sister went there. My mom was from OU though, so I'm not born yet, but she was an Sooner, and so just being around basketball in this area, this is his dream job. He actually had a chance to get this job. James Dickey ended up getting it, but I wasn't born. I don't know how old I was or if I was even born, but it was really, really close. I think he was in the finalists for it, and James Dickey ended up getting it. So, but this business is crazy. It goes, I mean, like Billy Gillespie was at Kentucky. Billy Gillespie took Tubby Smith's job at Kentucky, and Tubby Smith took Billy Gillespie's job at Texas Tech. I mean, that's pretty crazy as it is. It just, this business is just, you never know where it's going to go. So treat people the right way. And that's one thing that I really am proud of with my dad. He's just a great Christian man who does the right thing. I mean, he really does. He treats people the right way. He doesn't cheat. And, he has a moral compass and standard about him that he's never going to compromise. And so that's the most I'm proud of.
Absolutely. Luke, I got one more question for you. Obviously, Obviously your dad and his squad is going to give every game 110%, but is it safe to say that he's going to have big circle on the calendar, starred, underline when the burnt orange roll into Lubbock?
I'd be lying if I didn't say yes to that question. I think really good competitors, really good coaches, athletes, they make things personal, even if it's not personal. Every game's personal.
Jordan.
He's going to try to win every game on that schedule. With any conference, any league you're in, like my league, South Plains, Odessa are the two more dominant teams in our conference. If we can't beat those two teams, we're not going to win the league. And so they're the standard, so to speak. Kansas is the standard in the Big 12. And you got to go, the league goes through them. I do think by the end of, in a year or two, they're trying to win now. This isn't like a process. It's like he's a junior college coach for 7-9 years. Like you reload every year. This transfer thing was not even difficult. They have 3 scholarships. Like you wish you had more. It's a situation where I think, do they want to be Texas 100%? But they're more focused on the process and just being, that game's going to be fun. I mean, it's a personal game for everyone. But more importantly, it's trying to be the best team at the end of the year. And I know they'll learn from it. And there's not anyone that I've seen that improves more as a team and adapts than, as my dad's teams do. So that's what I'm excited to see. I know they're ready. So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully they got good players. I'm speaking pretty positive over here. Maybe they got some Americans lined up, or maybe LeBron James can come back to college. He's got some eligibility.
So Luke, before we wrap up, do you have any advice for any of the listeners out there that might be wanting to go into coaching, or any life advice you want to throw out?
I think the hardest part with coaching is, it's a lot of it's just a network of people around that can help. you try to get your foot in the door. It's difficult to do. Even my place now, I can't, like I'm not allowed to have a volunteer assistant anymore, which is frustrating because that's how I was. And it's just try to get your foot in the door. The problem is it's not going to be financially, it's not going to look good. But I think that's the best way to do it. Whatever you can get your foot in the door and just work. Don't worry about the job you have. It doesn't matter. Just do whatever you can every day to make the job the best job in the country and do it better than anyone else has ever done it before you. And when you leave there, that coach is going to know how good you are because you're not around. Or you can't do photo edits. Man, I wish I had someone so bad. You make their life easy. And most coaches don't know what they're missing until it's gone. It's just a reality of it. And I think just try to adapt with your boss, be smart, don't talk too much, listen, and just try to learn as much as you possibly can and be humble about it and just work harder than anybody else. I think that's one thing that, my dad and them always do. I mean, they have so many more GAs and all these they're up there to 1. I mean, it's crazy. A lot of these assistants never even worked this hard in their entire life. But it's just being a GA, or if you can get your foot in the door at a good program, take that opportunity and make the most of it and treat everyone the right way. Don't big time people. But I think just having the flexibility to get your foot in the door and make that sacrifice is not about the pay. The pay's irrelevant. I know that might not look good with you having, something you got to pay on your college. I know that, but make it work. Do you really want to do this? You'll figure it out if you do.
Yeah.
If you enjoy it. So, some people, you got to get a little lucky. I won't lie, but I think I'm a big believer in if there's a will, there's a way, and you gotta make it happen, and you gotta pray about it, and you gotta work, and there's a way. You just gotta think about it and figure out the entire logistics of it all. And I think, but if you just take care of your job every day, like it's a one-day interview, then, people want to hire you because you're good and you're really good, and they want you in their program. But so many kids or coaches try to look at the job all the time, and they're not taking care of the job they have now. And I think it's kind of interesting in my opinion, but I'm not much of a self-promoter. So if maybe I need to be. You got any classes, Evan, for self-promoting? Instagram?
Hey man, we'll talk offline. Hey man, we really, really appreciate you doing this, Luke. I wish you all the best and success in coaching. Excited to see where your career heads. Excited to see what your dad does at Texas Tech. And we would love to do this again sometime, man. But for now, I'm Evan.
I'm Chris.
I'm Ryan.
And this has been the Raider Powered Podcast. Guns up, baby.
Guns up.
Go Thunderbirds too.
There you go. We don't have a sign.
Thunderbirds.
I don't have like a bird that's a chicken, we need something though. So
Luke, thank you, brother. Really enjoyed that.
There you go.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Really enjoyed that. Yeah, absolutely.